This is Matthew.
And this is Nick from Plastic Tombstone.
And this is I Heard Something About That.
Our podcast about the news we remember from the week.
Yeah, something we heard about.
Something we heard about. This week we're going to be talking about the Zelda DLC, some more Injustice news, a little 13 Reasons Why, and we're going to give you a spoiler-filled discussion of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which we saw this weekend.
Yeah, that'll be at the end of the podcast, so you don't have to turn it off in fear of hearing anything. We'll let you know when we go into that big discussion.
Yeah, so basically let's give a spoiler-free synopsis, not synopsis, just our general thoughts on the movie and if people should go see it or not.
Amazing. That's my...
Yeah.
That's
I thought
my
anybody who thought it wasn't as good as the original, I don't get that. I thought it was better than the original.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the few sequels. It was in the vein of Aliens and Alien. It's a sequel that improved upon the first one and made it better in so many different ways.
Yeah, and dude, I just got lost in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I can't say about any movie in a long time.
Yeah, I talked about it on this podcast not too long ago how I don't have the need to rewatch something, and I really want to rewatch that movie again.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to go see it sometime this week. So
yeah, we definitely recommend it. And if you want to hear us go way deeper into our discussion on Guardians of the
we'll
Galaxy,
probably discuss the movie from front to back.
Yeah,
all the characters and stuff. It's going to be a long discussion, and if you want our opinions on it and the stuff we liked, and
hey, we want to hear your opinions too, man. Comment below and let us know.
It's Plastic Tombstone recommended for sure, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, don't miss it if you have the chance. It's
probably, man. The first one was really high on my list for Marvel movies, but I think that this one tops that. I mean, I think it's up there with the Avengers movies.
Yeah,
maybe even better.
It might be my favorite one.
Yeah, I really need to watch it again to make that assessment.
I agree with you. I might have to rewatch it and let it simmer for a little bit just to see if it is my favorite, but I think it is just because
it's so
it's all over the place in a good way.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's
brilliant.
Yeah, it's really, really well done. And it's the 5th highest opening for a Marvel movie ever.
That's good, and it also kind of sucks because you want to see that one just blow it out of the water, everything.
Yeah. Well, the only ones that beat it were Civil War, the 2 Avengers, Iron Man 3 for some reason.
What?
Iron Man 1 didn't do as good. Iron Man 2 didn't do as good as Iron Man 1, but Iron Man 3 blew them both out of the water with $207 million on opening weekend.
That's really weird.
Really weird, right? And I think that was it. I
think we should start some sort of conspiracy theory based on that.
Yeah, it's weird. That's the only one that's not an ensemble cast one. The Iron Man. It's Avengers, Civil War, Iron Man 3, and then Guardians is 5th.
It's hard to top Civil War just because of Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's true. So, and we're looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
Coming very soon.
Very soon, yeah.
So last week, let's just get into some video game stuff real quick.
Okay.
And then we'll go into our Guardians discussion. Last week we were talking about Zelda DLC and what we thought was going to be on it. And literally 10 minutes after we got done recording the podcast, all the information about the DLC dropped. And
it's going to be some costumes, right?
It's going to be
Tingle costume.
A Tingle costume. The Phantom from Phantom Hourglass.
There's a Korok seed mask.
Yeah, we were talking about that too. There needs to be some sort of indicator.
Yeah.
And that's what it does. You wear the Korok seed mask.
And it picks up where they're...
And it shakes every time you're near one.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I'll actually start hunting those things down again. And it has a thing called the Trial of the Sword, which is you start off with nothing. It's 45 stages, and if you get through all 45 stages, your Master Sword becomes unbreakable.
That's pretty awesome. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you level up each time, I guess. You kind of find different ways to beat these monsters that come after you.
Yeah, I think you just have to harvest their weapons,
and
their shields, and then use that for the next battle.
Oh, I like that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's 45 stages too, and they're going to get increasingly hard. I imagine there's bosses in there and stuff. But if you played Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, you know that your Master Sword, once you get it, after a while it just loses energy if you're not fighting a Guardian or something.
Yeah, and it just goes away.
And then after 10 minutes it recharges.
There was another. You can level up. You can level up some of the bosses or some of the villains.
Oh, there's a new hard mode.
Yeah,
you can start the game over on hard mode where there's more difficult bosses on there.
Speaking of which, I did beat Zelda this weekend.
You did? You beat the main campaign?
I did. Apparently I didn't get all the memories, so Zelda was just like, "Do you really remember me?" And that's how it ends.
Spoiler alert! In case for Zelda.
Yeah. So that's why when you go back to play again, you respawn at Ganon.
Oh.
So
well, I did that too.
Yeah. Well, apparently there's another ending if you get all the memories.
I'm trying to remember.
Because I looked it up. I was like, that's a really weird, abrupt way to end this. I was, beating the final boss was pretty easy.
Yeah.
I was pretty disappointed you don't really get anything for beating the game.
Yeah. I imagine it being an open world game, it's kind of hard to give you something.
Well, like I would have liked to have got that light bow or something.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
It's
You
like-
actually get that in an amiibo drop, I think, sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, any
Yeah, something
like a new
to prove
costume,
that you beat it.
something. Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Just a little reward.
And maybe that'll come along later.
But still, my all-time favorite game.
Yeah. And another cool thing that they're doing that I'm super interested in, because I want to see yours and I want to see mine. They got a thing called the Trail of the Hero, I think it is.
Yeah, see, like
It tracks all your footsteps throughout the game, so you can actually
for 200 hours.
for 200 hours.
Yeah,
Which I don't think I've played 200 hours, so it'll track out most of where I've been.
yeah. So that's pretty cool.
That's gonna be insane to see. Not only that, because I wandered around a lot in a lot of different regions, just looking in every nook and cranny and backtracking to find secrets and stuff like that. I'm be very interested to see if there's a section I just didn't go to,
Yeah,
because there's got to be a couple sections.
yeah.
But it's gonna be interesting to see, because I don't think I've actually played 200 hours yet. So I should see from me leaving to me wandering around the Great Plateau.
And when does that come out?
Sometime in the summer.
Okay.
And if you did the season pass, which is only $20, you already get like 3 chests. There's like 3 special chests that drop. So if you go ahead and get it now, they'll spawn in the world, and one of them's a unique in-game clothes, I think. I don't know what it is, but... And then that comes out summer, and then in winter they're releasing the new dungeon and the new storyline.
Cool.
Which is pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to a new dungeon. I always
continue adding on to that game, because I could play that game forever.
It's true. They also announced in DLC news, they announced Injustice, the first batch of Injustice. The game's not even out, and they've already announced the DLC characters.
I hate that.
Yeah. They're probably balancing them out and stuff. I mean, I can kind of understand them fighting game, and I kind of wish they would just waited like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But they're trying to build the buzz for the game.
Exactly.
And get people to buy the season pass. But it's Starfire, Red Hood, and Sub-Zero.
Yep.
Which is...
kind of boring.
Yeah. I like Red Hood all right, but...
It's like the last game was Scorpion as this special character.
Yeah.
What I would love to happen is DC actually has the rights to He-Man for the comics. I think it'd be awesome to add some He-Man characters in there.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, right?
Like Skeletor with Mortal Kombat. Come on.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, so... But I doubt it's going to happen. We'll get just more Mortal Kombat crossovers and probably like a horror character or something.
Well, who else are they going to put, though? They already put the Alien and the Predator and the...
Right, Ash.
That would be pretty cool,
That
right?
would be awesome.
That would...
I'd be done.
You'd be done with the rest of your life. That's the only character you would ever have to be. But yeah, I just wish they wouldn't like announce it beforehand, because it kind of gives you a little bit of heartburn, and you're like, oh, I mean, I don't get those characters that you already know who they're going to be. Because at least the For Honor characters, it was like months after, because they were still like fine tuning them, and so it made sense.
You should be. It's not. It's like we don't do like we used to when we play the game and enjoy the game, and then
you get a little bored with it, and then you're like, oh, a reason to go back.
Yeah, this is like, let's throw everything at you at once because we want to sell it as much as possible. Yeah,
it's all about selling that season pass, because they want to sell, instead of selling a game for $60, they sell a game for $100.
Yeah, it's
that they're already going to work on.
It's kind of a bullshit system.
I mean, I like adding on to
video games these days, though. I mean,
yeah. I mean, we're saying it, but we were just praising and getting excited about the Zelda DLC. So,
but that game's been out for a while.
It has been,
and they just announced that last week. So
it's true. Don't announce your DLC before your game comes out, because it kind of makes people sad.
Yeah, I just wish DLC would. I don't know, like some DLCs. Okay, like the Zelda one's pretty good. There's some games that have it's pretty good, and some of it's just like it's really unnecessary and feels like it's just a cash grab.
Yeah. Well, it's just that's exactly what it is. It's just trying to get like a little bit extra money out of people that have stuff they were already going to work on. But
I guess at least the developers aren't going to Kickstarter to do the DLC yet.
Yeah, I remember when DLC first started hitting. It was like in Halo 2, I think, and you could buy like the new maps, but it was like $10 and you got like 10 maps.
Yeah, God, that was so much fun.
That was a good DLC pack. Now it's like $15 with 2 new maps, and I gotta say this. People like customizing their characters, but not enough to pay for it.
Right.
Don't sell player skins as a pre-order bonus, because that's it.
Speaking of fighting games and customization, like when is somebody gonna make a good fighting game with like a creative fighter? like a really good one.
Like, what's the best creative thing in games? Is it the wrestling games?
Yeah, the wrestling games have like the best customization. You can basically make a whole game based on you can fix the arenas, you can fix the rings, the characters. You can basically make a whole new game. So I mean, I just wish fighting games would.
What was the last real one that did it? Soul Calibur 2?
No, Soul Calibur 5.
Soul Calibur 5. God, I was way off.
Nothing. No, I don't get Street Fighter did. That's what I was gonna say. I thought Street Fighter did. No, I think some of the Dragon Balls you want to do it too.
Yeah.
But Soul Calibur, I thought for what it was, like it was pretty simple, but I really enjoyed it. Like making like these kind of medieval versions of random characters. It was almost like an achievement to make something. Like I made a bunch of wrestlers on there.
Yeah.
But like I had to make them kind of in a medieval look, but you could still tell who they were. I thought that was a lot of fun. But
yeah, I like. Man, it's crazy what people will do with mods and stuff. They can make like.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when the first Mass Effect, people were making, like, Harrison Ford and stuff. Like, and the first Mass Effect, it was pretty much you could only tweak the face. But, man, people got really good at that. You could do it in Skyrim, too, if you were good enough. Because Skyrim is, like, I don't understand the brow and the cheekbone and the, like people will look at a picture and they'll look at it up front and profile and they're like, all right, I'm going to make this. And they just make it exact.
Well, it's like on the wrestling games, people have gotten where, you can upload your own logos and stuff. People will take the skin textures off wrestlers and stuff for your face and stuff and upload them on there so you can like just add like.
See, that's the future right there. Is just
well, 2K16 they didn't do it with this year's, but the year before last they did a thing where you could take a selfie with your phone and upload it,
and it puts it on your wrestler.
Yeah,
dude, that's awesome.
I know they didn't do it this year though. I don't know why. It was a cool feature.
Yeah, get back to that. We would totally play a wrestling game if we were in it.
And also stop making games every year. Make one really awesome game for every couple of years and stop this nonstop. We have to make a game every year, and we're going to give you a little bit, and then next year we'll promise more for next year.
Yeah, I feel like games that come out every year get a little repetitive for people. Like I think people don't come back as quickly because there's no room for it to breathe.
I get really bored. Like the wrestling games I used to love playing, but now I'm just getting kind of bored with them.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing every year, except for here's just a few little additions.
Yeah, and that's what Call of Duty does, and that's what Assassin's Creed was doing.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about what Assassin's Creed did is they were like, yeah, we're not going to make a game this year. We're going to focus on making the next game better.
You should.
It's just perfect. I mean, look at Zelda when it came out. We praise that game a lot, but it took 4 years for it to come out.
You're also not giving anybody a chance to play any of the older titles. Like,
yeah.
Say, like, somebody finds out, oh, Assassin's Creed looks really good. There's a new one coming out, so they don't pick up the old one and even check it out because they know there's a new one coming out.
Yeah. Speaking of old games, do you remember those Darksiders games?
I actually never played them, but I know Andrew told me they were insanely difficult.
Yeah, they're hard. They were difficult. You played one of the four horsemen, and the first one you played war, and the second one you played death.
Yeah, but they came out around the same time Bayonetta 1 came out. The first one did, didn't it?
And
Andrew was playing it when I was playing Bayonetta.
They were difficult games, but they were fun. The first one specifically was more like it was very much like a Zelda game. You would go to a place, and you would get halfway through this little dungeon thing, and then you would get a piece of equipment, and then you could progress further through the dungeon, and you would just progress through the game almost like Zelda style. And the second one, you were death, and you had like twin sides and stuff. And it was they were both really fun games, and there was sort of a promise / hint that you were going to get to play the other horsemen, and then THQ, the company who made it, got shut down.
Go figure.
And so everybody thought they were never going to see it again, and lo and behold, this week Darksiders 3 got announced.
Sweet.
So
who's developing it?
I actually don't know. I should have known that. I heard something about it.
You heard something about that.
But I don't have all the information on it.
Well, I mean, THQ was hit or miss with their games.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully whoever's developing it now will make it even better.
Yeah. It's basically a third-person hack-and-slash game, and the first one you had a sword, and the second one you had, like I said, twin size, and this one you have like a whip situation. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Castlevania.
Yeah, pretty much. I played the first two, and I liked them, so I'm looking forward to the third one. And I don't know if Matt's going to care about this, but they finally released the long dormant Dark Tower trailer for Stephen King's Dark Tower.
Oh, yeah.
The Dark Tower series, which is like 9 books long.
Yeah. I've seen they did a comic book on them not that long ago.
Yeah, and they finally released it, and it looks pretty good. I'm actually pretty excited about it. It's about like parallel universe kind of thing.
That's a little better than that dumb It movie.
You don't like that at all, do you?
I'm not. It doesn't look good to me.
Yeah, I'm interested to see it because
Yeah, I want to see it because there's so many people who are like, "Oh, it looks awesome," and I'm like, I don't know. I think we're being tricked.
I'm hoping it focuses more on the because if you ever read the book, which I didn't read the book, but my girlfriend read the book and she kind of told me about it. It jumps back and forth between them being adults and them being kids, and so they made that TV movie, and it was just like it felt so long-winded. So hopefully, if they stick to the part where they're just the kids, which is what it looks like, they can get through like more of the movie and
the ending of the first one was terrible.
Oh my god. Yeah, we have to hold hands to stop the
hold hands and believe in love to stop the giant glowing spider thing.
Spoiler alert for Stephen King's It from when? 1990, I think it was.
Something like that.
That trailer came out. We watched it, like the remake of the original one on the miniseries.
Did it suck?
Whew.
Hard, isn't it?
Does not hold up very well.
Yeah.
You know who's not very terrifying as a clown? Tim Curry.
I don't think he was trying to be. I mean, there were parts where he was fairly creepy, but maybe just because I was younger and that movie kind of freaked me out.
Yeah.
But there was some genuinely like creepy ideas in that movie, but it just all dies at the end.
Yeah. If you just make him a glowing spider and then I don't know.
Isn't that kind of all of Stephen King's stuff though? Like the ending, like kind of just ruins.
The ending is hit or miss for Stephen King because he always has like these good ideas, but like he always goes, "Well, how am I going to end this?" Because it was about an interdimensional being who could transform into your greatest fear. How do you end that? How do they stop it when he's been around since the 1700s or whatever? Like, how are these kids going to stop it? Holding hands and being in love or whatever. I don't remember how it ended. I just remember going, God, that was it.
And didn't they like throw gold in his light or something? Didn't they have like some gold or something?
I don't know. The first time they defeated him as kids, they hit him with a slingshot.
That
was a silver bullet, and it hit Tim Curry in the head.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, and he's like his head explodes or whatever.
Yeah, that was
like
it.
Light coming out of it.
So nobody can defeat it except for a child with a slingshot. The book makes way more sense. The book's like a 1,000-page book, and obviously goes into much more of what it was. But they try to cram that into a 3-hour miniseries, and it's just like, man, it just did not. Sometimes some books can't be done, you know.
Yeah.
It's just they're too big, they're too long. Don't mess with them. Just leave them be.
We'll see how this movie does. We will go see it. I don't know if I'll go. Maybe I might wait till it comes out on DVD or something.
Yeah. Well, you should do that AT&T or Verizon, I think it is, where you get
bring a buddy
thing.
Well, you can bring me.
There you go.
So I don't have to pay for it.
It's like $10 to go to a movie.
Because it can be terrible.
Yeah. But also they released the Defenders trailer that's coming out on August 18th.
I saw that. Looks good.
Yeah.
I haven't watched anything other than Daredevil. I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not too enthralled in watching any of the other characters. I like Daredevil, but the other ones I'm kind of like, eh. And I've heard Jessica Jones is really good.
Jessica Jones is really good. Luke Cage is pretty good. And we're in the middle of watching Iron Fist right now.
How is that so far? I've heard it was pretty bad.
It's a little slow. The problem with it is you set a precedent that these shows are going to have 13 episodes.
Right.
And you can't, some of them might not need 13 episodes, if that makes sense. So you get these other characters and you're following them for a long period of time, and then you're sitting there watching and going, I thought I was watching Iron Fist, and I'm watching these two siblings have an argument about their business. And it's just like, the Iron Fist stuff is cool. I actually enjoyed it. It's definitely not as bad as people make it out to be.
Didn't the Runaways trailer come out?
No, they just released a
cast image
of what they all looked like.
And it's gonna be a Hulu show?
I think so, Hulu. Yeah, it looked pretty good.
Man, do you think there's too much Marvel TV going on now?
They announced the Inhumans is coming to ABC too.
Yep.
There might be too much going on right now.
It's like we get a Marvel movie every once in a while, but like I don't have time to sit down and watch all these Marvel shows.
Yeah.
As much as I'd love to, I just don't.
Yeah. They're time consuming for real. Like you can watch you watch 2 or 3 episodes of Iron Fist and you're 3 hours in, and it's just like
it's not like a movie.
Yeah, it's definitely suffering. Sorry.
Do you think it might be better if they had shorter episodes?
I think so. Maybe 30 minutes, or maybe cut out some of the storylines. But I think what happened is Daredevil was 13 episodes, and Daredevil was pretty concise, but it needed those 13 episodes to kind of build that world. So,
it was well done.
And Jessica Jones, I think, needed the 13 episodes too. But now it seems like they're like, all right, well, this guy can harness his chi and make his fist iron. All right. We learn about that 5 different times, and I'm just like, okay, maybe it's stretched a little too thin. It's not terrible by any means. Don't let anybody tell you it's terrible. It's just kind of like a drama almost. and you kind of get occasional comic book stuff in there.
Mm.
So it's not the best one, but it's not.
I'll watch it one year.
I don't like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so.
I don't either. I don't really care what superheroes' friends are doing when they're not hanging around them.
And other than that, 13 Reasons Why is now confirmed to have a season 2. So
we did speculate on that, and I'm
Yep.
glad to hear that. I do, because there was a lot of unanswered questions at the end of that season.
Mm-hmm. And 13 episodes is just like the last one. So
good.
And I'm looking forward to that. That should be coming out.
I hope they don't make it super cheesy. Like I think we talked about like somebody does another 13 tapes or something. I hope they don't do that. I hope they just kind of wrap up what happened in the first season. You get to learn what happened with the other kids, and then you get to learn about the court, the whole situation with that, and it kind of opens up that.
Yeah, they definitely need to add some sort of mystery in there, though. I don't think they'll do a 13 tapes, but maybe they'll do something else.
13 DVDs.
Maybe they'll just
13 thumb drives.
I can speculate and say maybe the kid shoots up to school, and maybe he has 13 reasons why he did it, and they go back and
that wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, and it's his shooting the school is at the beginning of the season, but you kind of flash back to how he got to that point.
He makes 13 messages in a bottle
and then throws them in the school pool. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That should be coming out 2018.
Cool.
So that was kind of a short little podcast because we really got a lot of Guardian stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we're gonna dig deep into the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
So yeah, thanks for listening. If this is where you're stopping now, and because you haven't seen Guardians yet,
yeah, and if you haven't seen Guardians yet, go see it and come back and
come back
out
and
with us.
Hang out with us and hear what we have to say about it. So please like and subscribe and all that good stuff.
Check us out on all social media, and
until next time,
we'll talk to you then.
What a weird way to end it. All right, so let's get into this. So full spoilers, obviously. We're gonna talk about everything, and let's go.
Yeah. So, obviously, as we said at the beginning of the podcast, we both highly recommend Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yep.
Like I said, I totally got lost in this movie, man. I was laughing. I felt sad. I don't know. It was almost
It was definitely one of the most emotional Marvel movies I've seen.
Yeah.
Where I was getting like legitimately like teared up because it was so well played.
And it's crazy, like, and these span of emotions kind of go all over the place.
Yeah, you're watching it and you don't think you're gonna be sad at the end because you're laughing really hard one minute and then you're like, whoa.
Yeah, things
next
got really serious.
Like really serious, like really fast. It starts off basically, you see Star-Lord's mom and Kurt Russell driving.
Speaking of that, was that Kurt Russell like very creepy? Like that they did like the CG youth thing on him.
Do you know that's not CG?
That
was a makeup job.
Well, it looked really creepy.
Yeah,
they
did a really young. They said they kind of lightened his skin a little bit, but most of it was his makeup guy that he's had with him for like 28 years.
Okay, well he looked really really odd.
Well, I think it was his hair.
No, I think it was his face. I just remember I was like, is that CG? That's him. It looks like him. God, he looks weird.
But it shows him and Star-Lord's mom at the beginning, and then it cuts to the future where the Guardians are hanging out defending some batteries.
Yeah.
From the gold people.
Yeah, what were they called? Like the Supremes or...
the Supremes. I think it was the Supremes. I can't remember what their names were.
Celestials or something.
No, that he was a Celestial. I don't remember what their name was.
I can't remember. They called themselves something. But they were gold. They were golden people who were...
We're going to call them the golden people.
They were basically engineered. They engineered themselves to be like the perfect race, which I really loved those characters.
Yeah.
They were cool looking. The set, their world was cool looking. The set design was really awesome.
So anyway, you get the Guardians, and they were hired to defend these batteries for the gold people from a giant monster.
Yeah, and the gold people are a race that's genetically altered themselves to be like the superior, like they've made themselves perfect.
Yeah,
and I really love those characters. I thought they were awesome.
Yeah, and they're kind of snotty and rude.
Yeah, they're basically like the worst of our society.
Yeah, they're smug, and they basically said they hired them because they didn't feel like wasting their people on it.
Yeah.
So in case the Guardians did die. So what you get is a sequence of the Guardians being the Guardians. It picks up right after the first one. Everybody's kind of still arguing. And Rocket's trying to set up a music station. And then you get a sequence which is Baby Groot dancing while all the action happens in the background.
Yeah.
And he's the focus, which I gotta say got me a little worried when I first started watching. I was like, oh no, because I'm okay with Baby Groot, but I was like, man, are they gonna just pile him into this movie? And they didn't. They didn't. But
no, they didn't. And I've actually heard a lot of people complaining about that. Well, Baby Groot was a little too pushed in this movie. I'm like, no, he was.
Actually, yeah, I was really concerned when I watched that sequence. I was like,
he was just enough. There was just enough of him. I thought.
Yeah, there was. Well, every character got their moment.
Yeah, they did.
Which is what I really liked about the movie. But the funny thing about that sequence is, Baby Groot is the focus, and he's awkwardly dancing and he's playing with stuff while all this action is happening on the background. I was watching the background.
I was too. I was like, I'm gonna miss something. I
want to see what's going on over there. So I want to see it again just to watch him, because my girlfriend said he was kind of like dancing awkwardly.
Yeah,
and
my girlfriend was like smiling with tears in her eyes. She was so happy to see Groot dancing. So
yeah, it was a really nice sequence. It was really reminiscent of the first one where Star-Lord's dancing throughout the credits.
Yeah,
which is basically what it was. And after that, they defeat the monster, obviously, and they find out that the reason they got the job is because Nebula was there stealing the batteries, and they wanted the bounty on her. So they traded their work for her. And then Rocket steals some batteries.
Then there was trouble.
So Rocket steals some batteries just because he wants to steal some batteries. And so the gold people start chasing them. And there was a nice sequence of them going through like a teleporting asteroid field or something.
Yeah.
Where Rocket and Star-Lord are fighting over control of who's flying the plane. So you can tell there's little...
What's funny about those gold people is like they're so snotty. Like they basically fly drones. Like they won't go out into actual battle.
Yeah, they won't.
Their ships are just like little video game drone ships.
Yeah. And so there's a nice sequence there, and then they're surrounded by them, like hundreds of them, and then you see a little egg ship go by and blows them all up, and then they crash land on a planet, and that's where they meet Ego, which is Kurt Russell, Star-Lord's dad. He came in the movie very quickly. I thought he was going to be later in the movie, and he was a large chunk of the movie. He was probably within the first 20 minutes.
I was very worried about how they're going to pull it off, because the comics, Ego really is a giant planet.
Yeah. I think they did a really good job.
I thought it was awesome the way they did it. I think it made a lot of sense, and they even paid homage to the original comic. Like,
yeah, they showed that face at one point in the movie.
So,
yeah. But it was, and then you get into the conversation about Star-Lord really missing his dad and never knowing his dad and all that stuff. So you get a little taste of them and Kurt Russell trying to win him over, and then he finally winning him over, and then...
Well, then this is where the Guardians kind of split a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I thought, with the way the IGN review said it almost sounded like they were going to all have their own story arcs, which they didn't.
Yeah, it was only split in like two teams.
Yeah, so it wasn't that bad at all. I actually really enjoyed the way they did it.
So, I mean, we can go ahead and talk about it. Kurt Russell was Star-Lord's dad.
Yep.
And throughout the course of the movie, you don't really get a vibe on what he is and what his deal is. You kind of think...
He kind of seems like a hippie.
He kind of seems like a hippie. He just wants to get to know his son, and then you realize he has an agenda.
Yep.
Which is he wants to pretty much turn the universe into himself. Yeah. And he needs a biological heir to do that in order to harness that kind of power. And so I guess he's had Yondu bringing him children
because he's been impregnating all these random space women.
Yeah. And he brings the children, and he finds out the children can't help him, and he kills them. Mm-hmm. So I thought he was amazing as the villain. I thought...
Yeah, it was I mean, you got the feeling that, something was going to be off. He was going to be bad or something, but I didn't realize it was going to be to the extent it was.
Yeah.
And he's probably one of the better Marvel villains they've had in any movie.
Well, it's because he was there most of the time, and you got to know him. The problem with the other like Ronan in the last Guardians is...
I just wanted to destroy the world. Yeah. That's all you know about him.
Yeah, and you still want to see the Guardians because you don't know him yet.
Yeah.
You don't know who Groot is and who Rocket is and who Gamora is and who Drax is and all that stuff. So when you're sticking with a villain for most of the movie, which the trailers make it seem like he appears sort of at the end or halfway through or something, and
that was pretty well played.
Yeah, very well played, and definitely made for a good turn. But let's talk about who is your favorite character in the whole movie.
Drax.
Drax was my favorite too.
God, Drax was so funny.
He destroyed every scene he was in.
Yeah, I mean, and I genuinely just laughed through this whole movie because of him.
Yeah. Well, it was even when he was being serious, even when he was being calm.
Yeah, well, I heard a lot of people were saying no, they went too far with the humor. I'm sorry. if I'm genuinely laughing at every joke, you can't go too far with the humor.
Yeah.
If it's genuinely funny, then keep going with it. And it was hilarious. Drax was just killing it.
Yeah, every time he told a joke, for me it landed.
Yeah, it was so funny.
It sounded like in the last film they sort of loosened him up a little bit, and he's starting to get used to telling jokes and stuff, and he never told jokes before.
Yeah.
So now it almost feels like he's learning how to tell jokes, and it's like his favorite thing in the world. It's like whenever a kid finds a new favorite toy or a new favorite show, and that's all they want to do is watch that show over again. All Drax wants to do is tell jokes over and over again because it just makes him so happy. And like when he tricked Mantis into petting Rocket, and he was just like, "That's a practical joke. I just made it up." I mean, and even when he was being serious about talking about his wife who didn't dance, and how his father described how his mother.
I was going to say, what about his discussion with wanting to know if Kurt Russell had a penis?
It's true.
He's like, that's very important. That's very beautiful.
It just every time he was on screen, it was funny.
And I think a lot of that too is Batista probably with the first Guardians, it was kind of a gamble on if it was going to be good, so he's probably being a little bit more restrictive with himself, and probably even the studio and stuff is probably being a little bit more cautious with him. Where now, like the first Guardians was a hit, people like Drax, so now he's probably more comfortable. So
yeah,
it just plays off so much better.
Yeah, and who knew we would be laughing at Dave Bautista?
I know. When I heard he was going to be cast, I was like, oh, really, Bautista? He's terrible on the mic, but he plays the guy who doesn't understand irony and stuff like perfectly. He just says stuff like so deadpan.
I don't know. What else you want to talk about in this? What was your favorite sequence of the movie?
The Watcher was in this movie.
The Watcher was in this movie.
The guy who watches. Actually, there's a couple of them. A couple of Watchers.
They were hanging out with Stan Lee on one of the planets. There's a joke that Stan Lee is a Watcher. And there was a comic story that there was a Watcher who got too close to observing.
Yeah.
And that's who Stan Lee is. He's just that's everybody thinks that there's a theory that he plays the same character in each one. He's just a Watcher.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's a good thing to do, and he appears in every single one. And
I just thought that was I'm not a big Watcher fan. I could have cared less if I ever seen it in a movie, but it was still.
But it's good to just throw those in there.
Yeah, it's like
a quick reference.
That's a fucking Watcher, cool. And then Howard the Duck, of course, had a little cameo.
Mm-hmm. And that Astro Dog was in the
Cosmo.
credits. Cosmo was in the opening credits. Sylvester Stallone was in it. He was.
Yeah, his character was the one I really didn't care for because it's like they kind of just threw him in there and then they just kind of.
He was the
one that didn't feel like it had really any kind of fleshing out.
Yeah.
So I didn't like when the end credit scene happens with him and his team. I was just kind of like, "Who's this? Wait, what's happening?"
Yeah, I kind of think he was there to kind of flesh out Yondu a little bit.
Speaking of fleshing out Yondu, talk about taking a secondary character in the first movie and making you care.
Yeah, he had one of the best arcs in that whole movie, and you can kind of tell where the movie was going.
Yeah. Well, even at the beginning, they kind of give away the whole thing where Drax says, "Well, I thought Yondu was your father. You guys look exactly alike."
Yeah. But, they took Yondu, who was kind of exiled, right, for slaving children. That's kind of what Sylvester Stallone was there. He was Sylvester Stallone's leader of the Ravagers, or one of the set of Ravagers, and he exiled Yondu for slaving children. But Yondu actually wasn't. He was actually saving Star-Lord from getting killed because he cared about him. And I don't know. That was such a interesting take that I wasn't expecting to care so much about that.
You get where Star-Lord like kind of is really happy that his dad is Ego, and then like in the midst of all that, he kind of finds out that Yondu was really technically his father. He was the one who kind of raised him and saved him, and then Yondu dies.
Yes, by saving him,
and that's
that was a sad scene.
Yeah, I was like, damn, man, that was heavy.
Yeah, and Yondu was really into. Yondu was talking to Rocket a lot too.
Yeah,
and kind of Rocket, who had a good arc in the story too.
Yeah, because he started off as just like a complete asshole.
Yeah, and he realized he was just pushing people away. That was one of my favorite sequences in the movie. Was when he was in the forest, just messing up all those Ravagers and like launching them in the air.
Speaking of Ravagers, what about Taserface?
Oh my God, I forgot about Taserface.
God, that was so funny.
God, that was so funny.
Tell them who who sealed their demise. It was Taserface and that gold laser.
It was just perfect. I can't remember what Rocket said. What other choice did he have? Because he had another name for
I
him.
can't remember what he said.
God, it was funny. So they split up the movie. They split up the characters a lot, which you kind of we could discuss it before. We were kind of worried about it. That would sort of take away from it, and I think it just gave every character a moment to.
Yeah. What about Mantis, man? I thought she was another great character they added. She was pretty funny too.
Yeah.
Her and Drax playing off each other was hilarious.
What she say? I found out I'm a pet and I'm ugly, and she's like so happy about it because she's never had any like actual human contact on top of
Drax at the end. You're beautiful. You're really beautiful on the inside.
Yeah, that was a really good moment. That was one of my favorite moments of the movie.
Him telling her she's ugly.
Him telling her she was ugly because he told her she was ugly, and then she didn't really quite understand it, and everybody's like, "God, it's so mean." But then he was like, well, it's good to be ugly because then when somebody loves you,
they love you for who you are.
They love you for who you are. It was like a very like sweet Drax moment wrapped up in a joke, which was
you're
just
so hideous. You're just hideous to look at.
It was just you can tell they're gonna play off each other some more.
I can't wait. That was so funny.
And let's talk about Baby Groot.
Baby Groot didn't overdo him like people were saying.
They did not, which I was very happy about.
He had his funny little scene. But I thought LJ was going to go nuts when they were like picking on him. She's like, he's just a baby.
Yeah, they had the scene where he was picking on him, but then they had the scene where he was
becomes
supposed
a
to go get the
mascot.
fin. Well, he was supposed to go get the fin.
Yeah, and he just brings back all this random crap. He cut somebody's toe off, apparently.
It's like, let's not talk about that. And then he got... I don't know. Whoever did the mocap for that, even if there was mocap for it or anything, it was exactly like a toddler.
Yeah.
It was almost like he wasn't sure what the right thing to do was, and he wasn't like, he had that little leaf thing. He was like, it looks like this, and he holds it and he looks at it, and then he just kind of puts it on his head.
Yeah.
Like, no.
It's like, you don't like hats because you think it's part of their head, and then like you realize it's not part of their head. It's like that's the reason you hate hats.
And it was, I don't know, it was such a rapid fire series of jokes and moments that it begs to be seen again.
And like I said, it's a movie that totally had me lost. I was laughing. I was upset. I just got sucked into the world of Guardians of the Galaxy, and I love that.
Yeah, it was very good.
Do you think a lot of that's because James Gunn writes and directs his movies? Like, do you know of any other Marvel movies that has a writer-director? Because most of them have like 5 or 6 writers, right?
Yeah, probably.
James Gunn is the only one I can think of that does. He writes all his movies, so he has a complete grasp on everything.
Well, you could tell that from the musical score as well, which was which was on point the whole movie.
Yeah, the movie itself had a very disco-y kind of feel to it.
Yeah, like the Mr. Blue Sky was the one that Groot danced to in the beginning, and Come a Little Bit Closer was when Yondu was killing everybody in that Ravager ship. Is he a little overpowered? Was he, I should say?
I mean, I guess, but I mean, that's his only moment because he dies at the end, so I guess I had to give him something.
Man, he just, like, I always wonder if he has that power to kill everybody so quickly. Like, why didn't he just do that all the time? Why wasn't he like the king of some sort of planet somewhere where he could just murder anybody at any time? But yeah, everybody had, well, I mean, we didn't even get into Gamora and Nebula, which they had good scenes together because they were just out to, Nebula got her moment where every time she lost to Gamora in a fight, Thanos would take a part of her. So
yeah, you learned that. That was pretty dark.
Yeah. And she had her brain ripped out and her eye ripped out and all that stuff. And so she hated Gamora for that, but she never really could fully hate her. Was that kind of the...
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I got.
Yeah. I mean, and all the relationships worked out. I mean, you had... Baby Groot was the only one who really was on his own.
Well, because he was a toddler, basically. So he was kind of just their little thing to look after.
But yeah, Yondu was...
Because everybody kind of held him at certain points. And
yeah, Yondu was with Rocket, and Drax was with Mantis, and Star-Lord was with Ego.
Groot was kind of with Rocket, too. I mean...
Yeah, but he was more like on his own.
I loved at the end when he's like, obviously it was shown in the trailer, but when he's just like talking about which button to push. And and then like throughout the whole time, like Star-Lord's like, where's Groot? And Rocket's just like, I don't know. Hope he doesn't kill us all.
Yeah, and that was a really good scene that they showed it. Like you said, they showed it in the trailer. It was a big one. And I thought that was going to be in the beginning. I thought that was going to be the opening sequence of the movie, not the finale of the movie. But then there was that part where it just shows, they ask about the tape, and it just shows Rocket and Groot just staring at each other while you hear Star-Lord flying around
Yeah.
asking everybody if they've got tape. It was just such a funny sequence because it did what the opening sequence did was there's this huge action. You're fighting this giant monster and you're focusing on this little tree dancing. And instead, there's this big fight going on outside, and you got Rocket and Groot just kind of staring at each other.
And he's just like, hey, Drax, you got any tape? No, you don't? Okay, you sure?
Yeah, somebody said Scotch tape.
Yeah.
He said, do you have Scotch tape?
He's like, oh, do you have something? He's like, no. Then why'd you mention it?
Yeah, it was just there were so many funny moments in the movie, and there was good action in the movie. There was funny moments in the movie, and there was sad moments in the movie.
It's a movie, like I said, I'll say it multiple times, getting lost in is the best way I can describe it. Like, I got lost in the world of Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's what I want in any movie. I want a movie that's going to take me out of this fucking reality of...
From the musical score to the characters.
What about the ending credit scene with the teenage angst Groot?
He was kind of creepy, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think in the next one he'll probably be fully grown, because, like, the first movie, the ending scene, credit scene was him in a pot.
Yeah.
So this one, he was a toddler. So maybe the next one, like, since they showed him as a teenager, it's just that, like, he'll be back to being a full adult.
Do you think people will be upset about that? That he's just Groot again?
Probably. They'll probably find another way to kill him and bring him back as baby Groot.
I mean, this will be the end of James Gunn's trilogy, so...
Yeah. That's gonna be sad, man.
Yeah.
The only thing I would really complain about with this movie, and it's not a complaint about the movie itself, I guess, like, because the movie I thought was really great, there just wasn't any tie-ins to anything Avengers, Infinity War, none of that really.
I think I liked that, though.
Yeah, I kind of did too, but I also was a little disappointed because I was like waiting at the end.
Yeah, I was hoping one of the end sequences would have been that.
Yeah, or something. You know, I was kind of looking forward to like that connection finally being made.
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
I mean, I think the only one
they mentioned Thanos a few times, but that's about it. I mean, Thanos wasn't even in this movie.
I think Nebula's going to get Thanos, and I think she'll end up on Earth. And through there, she'll call the Guardians.
I wonder if we'll see.
She meets the Avengers.
I wonder if we'll see Thanos and Thor Ragnarok.
You'll probably see him at the end.
We need to, because people. I'm getting kind of the point where I'm just like,
yeah.
You've been dragging this on for like 4 years.
Yeah. I wonder how they're going to do that, because
he needs to be as badass as he needs to be a real threat, and he needs to actually kill somebody.
I think that's what James Gunn did differently than other people did in Marvel movies. Is he was willing to kill off a character,
yeah,
and make it poignant and make it meaningful. And I think that makes a big difference in a movie, because yeah, we love these characters and stuff, but if Captain America dies heroically, I mean, his death is gonna have much more of an impact.
Yeah.
Than if you keep putting him in 9 more movies. And Chris Evans, I'm sure he loves being Captain America, but I'm sure he doesn't want to be Captain America when he's 50.
Yeah.
At some point, it's not like a comic, when a comic can go on forever.
Yeah.
Kill off the actor and then bring another person in to be Captain America, and then you make your poignant scene, and then you can also like bring in the next generation. How many Spider-Mans have there been?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's not because they killed him off. It's just, it proves that other people can be Spider-Man. Other people can be James Bond. So other people can be Captain America. Just make it sort of canon to where Steve Rogers is dead, and don't make a new Steve Rogers, just make a new Captain America.
So yeah, definitely recommend Guardians.
Yeah, sorry we were all over the place. We're recalling the movie, and then we go. It's one of those things where you're
it's hard to recall when you've only watched it once, and it's so fresh.
Yeah, and you just, one part reminds you of another, one part reminds you of another. So it's definitely an excellent movie. I'm definitely going to see it again.
Yeah, you should definitely go see it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, and that's all we got. So thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff.
And check us out on all social media, and let us know what you thought of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
And also, Corey should be on this podcast next week. So
looky there.
He's coming back, and he's done with his second job, so he's going to start Pop Culture Geekly again. So
he's coming back.
He's coming back. We'll have him on. I heard something about that.
I heard something about Corey coming back.
There you go. So until next time.
Stay groovy.